It's Mr. Willis!
We need some more light in here.
Jay, you're the light man. You can be the lighting guy in the movies, Jay.
I do.
I'm good, actually.
Alright. We are studying section 30.1, studying about mammals. We'll look at mammal characteristics and then I'll tell you about your project.
Ooh. Project?
To be announced, TBA.
We still need some more light, that would help.
Listen, there is no more light.
Shut up.
Okay, what are mammals? Well, two characteristics that distinguish members of class Mammalia from other vertebrate animals are hair and mammary glands. All mammals have hair and mammary glands.
Where do whales have hair, bro?
Whales have hair.
Where?
They're covered with it.
Where?
All over their body.
Their teeth.
Down.
You just have to look closely. What does hair do? Well, insulation, it keeps them warm. Camouflage, it's often colored so that they blend into their surroundings. Sensory devices, the hair, like whiskers for instance, are hairs that when they touch something, they're connected to nerves so that the animal can feel things in the environment. Waterproofing, they're often real tightly banded together and covered with kind of a waxy covering that keeps water out, like in whales.
Like an otter.
Signaling.
Like a sea otter.
Some animals will, when they're threatened, most mammals make their hair stand up. Every hair is attached to a muscle. Every hair in your body has a little muscle underneath that can pull the hair, pull it so it stands up.
My dog has.
If you take a dog or a cat and kind of take a cat and back it into a corner, it'll arch its back and all its hair will stand up. And it appears to whatever's attacking it that it's a lot bigger than they thought it was. And maybe they'll back down. Yes?
How come like the hair on our neck stands up sometimes?
Same reason. If you're scared, the hair on your neck stands up. It's the same response to try and make you look bigger. If all your hair stands up, you look a little bit bigger to the attacker. Defense mechanism. Some organisms have hair that's the porcupine quill has been modified into a defense for the porcupine. Ooh.
What is that?
Is a hairy mammal.
It's a ginger. I'm sure.
That's a Tasmanian wolf.
Oh.
Now, all mammals are endothermic. The source of the body heat is internal, just like birds. They keep a constant warm temperature. Heat is produced by a high metabolic rate. Body temperature is regulated by internal feedback mechanisms. Humans keep a body temperature about 98.6. That means mammals can go into any environment. Remember, reptiles couldn't go where it's freezing. If so, you get a reptile popsicle. Because their internal temperature is the same as the outside. If it's freezing outside, their body would freeze solid. And they would die.
Solid.
Mammals and birds, not so. They can go into a freezing temperature. Their metabolism keeps their temperature up. What's the disadvantage of that? There's a disadvantage.
To what?
To being warm-blooded.
You can't live in a cold environment.
No, you can still live in a cold environment.
You sweat.
You can still live in a hot environment.
I don't know.
Yeah, if it's hot, you sweat and that cools you off.
Yeah.
There's a big disadvantage, though.
You have to eat.
You have to eat a lot
Right.
to keep your body temperature up. How many times do you eat a day? 3? 4? You know, there are reptiles that eat once a month. Once a month is all they have to eat. So you have to eat way more to keep that body temperature up. Right now, there's heat coming off your skin. If you were a snake, there would be no heat coming off of you. That heat is created by food that you eat. So the disadvantage is having to eat a lot. Look at metabolism versus body mass. Metabolism is how fast you burn energy. The heavier you are, the bigger you are, the less your body has to burn energy. Shrews and mice, they're real small.
Sex with a shrew.
They have to have a real high metabolic rate. And there's a good reason for it. If you're real little, your body heat leaks to the outside very quickly because almost all of your body is touching the outside. If you're big like an elephant, the only part of your body that's near the outside air is the skin, the area right around the skin. There's a lot of body in the middle that's not near the cooler air. And so you don't lose heat nearly as quickly if you're big. If you're tiny, you lose heat very quickly. So you have to burn food faster. So we see smaller animals burning food faster and larger animals burning food slower to keep that metabolism. Hey, there we are.
And there's Meredith again.
She's dope. Okay, look at the digestive systems. The digestive system consists of a mouth and esophagus, and then the stomach, a large intestine,
Is that a mole?
and the anus. This is if you pulled out their digestive system and straightened it out so you could see it. That is a mole. A shrew. Short-tailed shrew. Related to a mole. It's an insectivore. Now, some organisms, some mammals, have a special pouch called a cecum. A cecum is a special pouch that's located off the large intestine here that holds bacteria that will digest plants. So they can eat plants, and the plant material will be broken down by the bacteria. Normally, plants you can't digest. Like if you eat a leaf, try this afternoon, go outside and pick a bunch of leaves off the tree and eat them. They won't be digested, they go right through your system. It'll give you real bad diarrhea. Probably not an experiment that you want to try, but you can. So, you cannot digest cellulose, but there are organisms, if you had a cecum, the cecum contains bacteria that can digest cellulose, and you can use that cellulose for energy. So if you had a cecum, you could eat leaves. Wouldn't that be great? You go outside during lunch, you don't bring lunch to school, you just pick the leaves. Everybody'd be doing that, so there wouldn't be any leaves around here.
Gross.
Be different. It'd be a different kind of life.
What about salads?
They actually lettuce that actually goes right through you. And we call it roughage because it kind of it's not broken down completely, and it kind of scrapes the inside of your intestines, which is good. It kind of keeps your digestive system clean. But you don't get any energy from it. You don't get any calories just from lettuce. Now, salads also have oils and carrots and things that you do get energy from.
Right.
It depends. Some people put ham on it and chicken and all sorts of things, and you actually get just as much calories as from something else. Look how big the cecum is in a deer. Smaller in a fox because foxes are meat eaters mostly. And we have a little remnant of that cecum. You know what it's called?
Gallbladder.
The appendix. Who said that? Good job. We have a little tiny, ours looks like, boop, just a little, beep. We call it our appendix because we don't digest any of that. There's no bacteria in
What
there
does
that
the
help.
appendix do?
No.
So
It's
you
called
can-
a vestigial organ. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It's a remnant of something that was bigger in our ancestors.
So you can get rid of that if you don't want it.
You can do what?
You can get that taken out.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
possible
If it gets
to take
infected,
out,
yeah.
there's, like, no reason.
People get taken out a lot.
Like I feel like I want my appendix out.
Video footage.
It's stupid, but yeah.
The digestive systems of mammals are adapted to maximize the digestion and absorption of food. The protein consumed by carnivores and insectivores is completely digestible, while the plant material consumed by herbivores is not. We will examine the digestive systems of 4 mammals in more detail: a ruminant herbivore, a non-ruminant herbivore, a carnivore, and an insectivore. Herbivores feed on vegetation. Cellulose, a component of the cell walls of plant cells, cannot be easily digested by mammals. Instead, herbivores have a bacteria-filled pouch called the cecum that increases nutrient absorption. The cecum is located where the small intestine meets the large intestine.
This is lame. We already talked about it. I'm not doing it. So those are your four. You have insectivores that eat insects like moles and shrews. You have herbivores that eat plants. There's all sorts of them. Cows, eat grass, and horses eat hay and that kind of thing. Carnivores eat meat like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! And omnivores can eat all sorts of things. Humans are considered to be omnivores, although we don't digest plant material very well, so we're not true omnivores, but there are some other animals that can digest all sorts of things. Teeth. You can tell a mammal by its specialization in its teeth. Reptiles pretty much have all the same types of teeth going all the way around, but different in mammals. If you look at mammal teeth, and I'm just going to skip the words here and just talk about it. There are four types. The front, there are incisors. Behind them, there are pointed canines. Further back, we have these teeth called premolars. And even farther back, we have these teeth called molars. So it goes incisors, canines, premolars, molars. The incisors in the front are for clipping off things, for biting off, like clipping off a leaf, or clipping a part of some fruit, breaking things in half. The canines are for sticking into things. They're very helpful if you're eating meat. Your canines are sharp, they stick down into the meat, and then you can rip it. Arrgh. And then the premolars are flatter. It depends. If you eat meat, they're sharper, and if you eat leaves, they're flat, and they kind of grind. And then the molars are the same way as the premolars. The molars are usually flatter than the premolars for grinding up. In horses, you can see they're all real flat. They eat a lot of plants. So if the premolars and molars are large and flat, it's a plant eater. Look how small the canines are. Compare that with a lion. Here's a lion. Look how big the canines are. The incisors are small. They don't clip many things off like leaves. They stick these canines into the meat and then tear it. And look at the premolars are sharp. And even the molars are jagged. These are meat eaters. So you can tell the difference. Look at that. You know that ate meat. And you know this eats plants just by the way its teeth look. So when we find old skeletons, old skulls of mammals that are long extinct, we can just look at their teeth and tell what they ate. What do you think dolphins eat?
Fish.
People.
They're meat eaters. Look how sharp their teeth are.
I've seen it with my eyes.
People. Excretion. The organ that excretes, that creates nitrogen waste is called the kidney. That's what you have. The kidneys sit right about here. They filter the blood, and any waste material in the blood gets peed out. That's what the yellow stuff in pee is. It's nitrogen waste produced by your cells. The lungs. The lungs in mammals are controlled by the diaphragm, and I have a couple little models here. Let me get them real quick. I had some students make these for me. I'll pass them around so you can play with it. The lung works like this. The lung is like a balloon, and the diaphragm is a muscle that sits below the lungs. The diaphragm goes all the way across the body right about here. We need to get this on tape. So here's the diaphragm, and your lung sits above it. And there's a cavity, a space here called the thoracic cavity. Anyway, when the diaphragm is pulled downward, the diaphragm is a muscle that goes down. When the diaphragm goes down, the lungs fill up. And when the diaphragm goes back up, the lungs deflate. See how that works? So, actually I was doing that backwards. Pulling down on the diaphragm is when air goes into your lungs. See how that works? I'll pass these around so you can see how that works. The diaphragm is the breathing muscle. How about let's do one per row maybe? Maybe pass those to the right. Don't break them. Mammals are the only organisms that have a diaphragm to control breathing.
This one's
Circulation. Mammals have a four-chambered heart. Just like what other organism? Birds. Do it, Jay.
You said humans.
The brain. This is an interesting shot here. Look at an alligator's brain. Cerebrum, cerebellum. By the way, cerebrum controls thinking and memory. Cerebellum controls balance. There's an alligator and a bird. Look at the size of their cerebrum. Look at the size of a horse's cerebrum. Which do you think does more thinking and remembering? A horse or a bird or a reptile?
Horse.
The horse. Notice the way the cerebrum is smooth in these and it's all curved and curly-cued here. That's so you can squeeze more cells in a smaller area by having it curved back and forth. If you were to flatten that out, it'd be enormous. How much bigger is a human's brain compared to a horse's brain? Do you know?
2 times. 4.8 times.
About 7 times. Way bigger. Humans have the biggest brains of all compared to body size.
Yep.
So what's the cerebrum for again?
Remember.
Memory and thinking.
Balance.
What's cerebellum is for balance?
Back.
Mammals have a variety of glands. Let's see if it goes into that. No, it doesn't. The mammary glands in a mammal secrete milk. Milk is given off by the female so they can feed their young. The babies just breastfeed, and so then they don't have to go catch food. The mother can catch food, and then the mother converts the food to milk. Also, scent glands and oil glands and sweat glands. All of these are special secreting glands that help a mammal live. Oil glands keep the hair together. If you didn't have oil glands, your hair would come and fray apart. Ladies with long hair, you get split ends. That's because the hair isn't well enough oiled. Some of our shampoos have oil in it to keep the hair from fraying. Mammals have internal fertilization. So they have sex. The sperm is put inside the female. It's not spawning like fish do. Suppose you already knew that. Development of the embryo takes place in the female uterus. The uterus is an organ inside the female that holds the baby. There are some egg-laying mammals that we'll talk about, but most mammals have a uterus. Mammals must find food, shelter, escape from predators. That's pretty obvious stuff. Now let me tell you about your project before I show you this video. You got a project. Do this chapter. It's not that big of a
Is it a
project.
group project?
Nope, it's an individual. Picture of the
You're gonna say goodbye to the people.
I tell you what, let's let the people watch this, because
Okay.
people will have to do this in the future. And let me turn the light on for you. Oh, by the way, you have to read 30.1 tonight. Now, mammals are divided up into categories. The monotremes, the marsupials, and we'll go over these tomorrow, and the placentals. And the placentals are divided up into a bunch of different groups. The monotremes are the egg-laying mammals. There's only 2 species of egg-laying mammals on the earth. Do you know what they are?
Platypus.
Duck-billed platypus?
Ostrich.
Nope. That's a bird.
Oh yeah.
No one?
Oh.
Yeah,
I thought we had to read
I've seen it before.
30.1.
The spiny echidna.
Oh.
I'll show you a picture of it tomorrow.
That's not it.
Marsupials, what are they?
Kangaroos.
Pouched mammals. Kangaroos, possums. Wombats. Placentals are all the rest of them. And there's a bunch of groups of placental mammals. And I want you to look in your book. Hey, that rhymes. Starting on page 892, I want you to look at all the different orders of placental mammals. This is what the project's going to be over. Page 892. See these orders here? Order Insectivore. Those are the insect eaters like moles and shrews. Order Chiroptera. Those are bats. Order Primates. Those are apes and chimps and humans. Order Xenarthra. Those are anteaters. Order Rodentia. Those are rodents like mice, hamsters. Order Lagomorpha. Those are rabbits. Order Carnivora. Those are lions and tigers and bears. Carnivores, meat eaters. Turn the page to 894. Order Proboscidea. Those are elephants. Order Sirenia. Those are manatees. Order Perissodactyla. Those are odd-toed hoofed mammals like horses, zebras, and rhinoceri. Order Artiodactyl. Those are even-toed hoofed mammals like deer, antelope, cattle, sheep, pigs. Order Cetacea whales. Oh, that's it. That's all you got to know. So we got all these different orders. What you have to do for your project, and I do this every year, is make a group of note cards. Note cards. Let me just try and find some normal note cards. These are, okay, here we go. Here's some normal note cards. This is all you have to do. You make some note cards. On one side is the name of the order, Xenarthra. On the other side is a description of what that order is like, which you can find there, right there in your book. You don't have to write everything that's in the description in the book. You can just summarize. And include a picture. Now this person chose to draw his pictures, but you don't have to draw your pictures. You can print them off the internet, cut them out of a magazine. Don't cut them out of your book. That's my only rule. You can't cut them out. Somebody did that one time, just cut their book up in the
The
shreds.
description, like the picture.
Or you can draw it if you want. So on one side is the name of the order. On the other side is a description and a drawing of one of the animals. And underneath the drawing, write what it is. So I know what you're talking about.
What do these do?
So you have to have one card for every order. And you have to have a monotreme card and a marsupial card. So one monotreme card, one marsupial card, and then one card for all the placental mammal orders. And let's go ahead and count them right now so you know the total number of cards. How many placental mammal orders did I just talk about? It starts on page 892. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 14 total cards. 14. 1, 1, 12. 14 total. That make sense? This counts as a quiz grade. It shouldn't take you that long. You can probably knock it out in 20 minutes. But if you really want to put in some extra time, you can get some extra credit. The best cards in the class get 25 points extra credit.
On a test.
Second on the quiz grade. So you can make 125 on this. The second best get 20 points. The third best get 15. Fourth best 10 and fifth best 5. And as a bonus, the best cards I keep every year and show to the next year's class.
Can we see some?
And I've been doing this for 18 years that I've been teaching. And these are all the previous winners.
Isn't that stealing?
No, they give them to me. You don't have to give them to me, I guess. Like, look, one year this was their cards. Look at these. Monotremes, Marsupials. And these are the placentals. And they made them all weird and crazy. One person had them in a bag, and they're made of, like, I don't know. Foam.
How did that exact thing
One person, but that person had,
Just steal that one.
oh, they have
has too much.
not only foam, but also made out of, what's that? Glitter. I'm just going to pass these around so we can look at them.
I'm gonna mold mine.
Okay, now you can turn that off so they know the project.
Say bye.
Willis out.